Welcome back to Sports Roundtable, State News' sports podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jacob Smith, joined by my other host, Madi, Warden, and guest Luke Joseph. Today, as promised, we got a little bit more of a positive episode with hopefully no episodes of us losing our mind. We're going to talk about some women's sports because they have been excelling recently, and I think that is for the good of this podcast so we don't crash out again, right, Madi? But anyway, yeah, so real quickly, though, before we get into women's sports, we had a quick, important MSU hockey announcement that I'm going to let Madi kind of announce for us here. It's very important and very impactful for next year.
Isaac Howard will be returning for his senior year with Michigan State. Woo-hoo! A lot coming out about that. There was a lot of struggles with him and with the Tampa Bay Lightning kind of trying to see eye to eye on getting him a contract. They just weren't able to do so. Isaac wanted to go straight to the NHL, which who can blame him after the season that he had, after last season, after the development that he's had. He's playing on the penalty kill. He's playing good defense compared to when he first came in last year. And Tampa's just not seeing it, which is tough because Tampa doesn't have any stellar prospects like Isaac Howard. They have Dylan Duke, who was a fourth round pick a few years ago, and he's meh. Mm-hmm. He is a Michigan guy, so I might just be saying that because I'm biased towards Michigan State. But he hasn't panned out the way he should have come back for his senior year to develop more with Michigan. And I think that a lot of other people can probably speak to that as well. But Tampa just doesn't have the mix of star players that other systems like the Red Wings do. The Red Wings have a lot of good guys down in the farm league that are trying to develop. Tampa doesn't have that. They have Isaac, and they don't have enough room for him at this point. They just don't have enough space for him, which is good for us because now he gets to come back. It was confirmed to the Detroit News by his agent. Yeah.
Very exciting. Woo-hoo. I think it's a good move for both parties because obviously Tampa's a contender, but if it's kind of like any sport, especially the sports with minor league systems is important, like baseball and hockey, hockey specifically. I think not rushing your top prospects is a good idea because Isaac Howard, yes, he wants to go straight to the NHL, but whether that's the perfect move, right thing to do right now with the playoffs looming in literally a matter of weeks. So you wouldn't really know if Howard would be able to get minutes, especially in the playoffs for a contender like the Lightning. But the return of Isaac Howard to MSU is definitely good because that was one of their main products on the goal scoring side of things. Produced so many goals, was the leading scorer for Michigan State this year. So I think this would definitely be good news kind of going into next year, especially we already mentioned last week, Trey Augustine's coming back. So I think it'll definitely be good to retain some of your star power and make another push at this thing because Michigan State is looking to get over that hump in the Frozen Four. Yeah,
absolutely. And, I mean, you add Isaac Howard to this mix. You got Trey Augustine coming back. It's still – I haven't heard anything that it's confirmed that Caden Lindstrom, who went 4th overall to the Blue Jackets last year, is supposedly making the jump from the Canadian Hockey League to NCAA because that's now a new rule that players can do that. So that's going to be absolutely filthy if it's the two of them on a top line together. Those two probably with Charlie Stramel, this team's going to be legit. They're going to be the real deal. It's just, like you said, it's making it over that hump of the regionals to try to get to the Frozen Four for the first time since 2016. It'll be almost 10 years. It will be 10 years if they make it next year, if they can make a comeback and go to the Frozen Four. So, yeah, big news.
Exactly. And it was supposed to happen potentially this year, but you always get another crack at things, especially when you bring some key guys back.
Don't start that.
We are not going to hit on that any longer, just for the sake of our moods here today on this podcast.
But you don't want to make me crash out. We have a count going on at 1 before we started this.
And 2 on the day. Let's not.
2 on the day. Yep. Don't give me a third.
We will plan not to do so here for the rest of this episode, but kind of transitioning a little bit. We wanted to recap the end of Michigan State women's basketball season, like we kind of did last week with MSU hockey and MSU men's basketball, because Michigan State women's team, their season just ended recently as well. I know from the initial kind of box score and stuff that happened in the second round of the NCAA tournament where they lost 83-49 to 2-seed NC State. I know you look at that and you're oh, they got blown out in the second round of March Madness. March Madness for women's is a little bit different than March Madness for men's in terms of the top teams are significantly better than pretty much a good portion of the field, just based on like roster talent and stuff like that. But what's your...
Don't the top seeds in the women's NCAA tournaments get home court advantage too?
Yeah, home court.
So that probably doesn't help if you're playing where they played, where NC State played, correct?
It's kind of like the college football playoff where the first round the higher seed gets the home field advantage, at least in the first round. But yeah, this is NC State has been good all year.
Yeah.
So it's not that we didn't like have a chance, but it's just going to be a really, really tough game to win. So but
I mean, really tough draw, and like you obviously would like to see it be a little bit closer than the scoreline says, but I mean, it's still a positive step for Michigan State because it's year 2 of the Robin Freilich era. I will get it. So I mean, she's made it the NCAA tournament in both of her first 2 years here. I mean, first round exit last year, but I mean, this year is an improvement from going from the first round exit to a second round exit. I mean, it's still progress.
Yeah, I mean, you go from not making it out of the round of 64 to advancing to the 32. So I mean, what more can you ask for in a coach that's only been this her second season with the team? I mean, keep making those jumps, keep making those improvements. It's better than being knocked out in the first round. It still sucks that you didn't make it as far as you wanted to, but at least you got one more game under your belt to keep playing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to play for your chance whenever you get it, and I mean, it's good to face competition like that and kind of get a taste and understanding of what March Madness, especially in the women's basketball side of things, is going to be like because their first round game last year wasn't against like a top inferior opponent like this because they had 22 wins last year as well compared to 22 this year too. So obviously, like, it sucks that they got that draw with NC State, but that's good for Freilich to experience, but also her players and kind of be like, all right, guys, so this is how it's going to be going forward. Like, obviously, your top teams in women's basketball and college are kind of like juggernauts. That's why we see UConn, South Carolina, kind of always getting back to that Final Four, and UCLA and UC exactly. So like that's why those teams are like all always in the Final Four or whatever, or that national championship contention because sustained success is prevalent in women's college hoops. But a program like Michigan State can build themselves up because that's how like UConn and the teams I just mentioned like built themselves up. So it's good experience, and especially going 2 for 2 in tournament appearances in your first 2 years, I think that's definitely a positive sign.
And think about some of the key pieces who are could be returning. You got Taryn Haylock, who will be a senior next year, and then also Grace Van Sluten, who transferred in last year. Like she'll be returning as well for their senior season. So, but there are some key losses. Julia is graduating. Nyla Hampton,
Jocelyn Tate, and Jaden Simmons.
Yeah, so obviously those are key losses, but we still got key pieces returning as well. So I think that Robin's definitely got to go in the portal again. I think she might need to get another true point guard. But I have full confidence in her to get somebody out of the portal because she just did it last year. So I think this is a good building block.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I mean, losing Julia Errol was going to hurt because she declared for the WNBA draft. So,
which props to her. Good for you, Julia.
Like very much. Like she is definitely a very talented player. She will most likely get picked up. Like she is going to excel in I think the next level in the WNBA because she averaged 14.4 points per game, 7.3 rebounds per game. She's
a real deal.
She was real deal. Very active down low. Kind of helped Michigan State's rebounding presence, especially as kind of like a little bit of an undersized team. So I think definitely the right move for her. But losing her and the rest of the 3 seniors, excuse me, like Nyla Hampton as well, that's going to hurt because they were significant contributors. But they're bringing in a top 25 recruiting class for next year, 2025 to 2026. And that's kind of fired behind number 33 overall recruit Jordan Ode, guard, and then number 89 overall point guard Amy Tarian, and unranked guard Anna Tarian. So you're bringing in 3 girls so far. Like you said, Luke, Coach Freilich's probably going to be active in the transfer portal once again. She's proven to be in her first 2 years. So definitely kind of expect to see a few more players brought in through that aspect because that's kind of what college sports is now. But bringing in a top 25 recruiting class to an already top 25 roster is definitely going to help things going forward and should help them take more steps as the years go on.
And I forgot to mention that some of the freshmen who didn't get to see a ton of playing time this season because there were a lot of upperclassmen on this team. Those freshmen and sophomores who are on the team, they're going to see a lot of improved minutes because I think that they're going to be asked to do a lot more. Obviously, because they are going to be upperclassmen or at least sophomores. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ines out of Spain.
Sotelo.
I think she's been pretty good. Coming off the bench, and I think that I don't know about competing for starting center spot because I think Vince Loon's kind of got that. But if she does need, if she needs like a break or something, I think that she can definitely be kind of like that backup center.
Yeah, and Ines had a lot of really great standout games this past season to just prove that she can be on this roster, to prove that she can come off the bench and just fire on all cylinders. So she's going to be a really great piece that's returning to Michigan State, along with, like you said earlier, Theron Halleck she's had an almost 40-point game this season. She's ridiculous. So she's going to be a really good returner for Michigan State to have.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I was kind of looking sneak peek at ESPN's way too early kind of top 25 rankings for next year, and Michigan State's right at 19. And I'm trying to watch this video right now on Michigan State women's basketball's Facebook because they mentioned that Jocelyn Tate will be returning next year as some of that backcourt for Michigan State in the ESPN articles. So I'm actively trying to work to see if that's confirmed or not, because having Jocelyn Tate back would be a significant boost to the backcourt. I mean, it already was good already, but with the departure of Nyla Hampton, I feel like you kind of have to retain as many people as you can. So I think if Tate's able to come back, I mean, the team's looking just as solid. So definitely should be a improving year, I feel like, next year for Michigan State women's basketball, which is why we wanted to touch on them, because even though their season kind of ended on a little bit of an unfortunate note in blowout fashion, next year is filled with so much more promise, as well as the following years. I mean, Coach Freilich has kind of built a foundation for this team already in her first 2 years here that should kind of carry over to the next few years or so, and it should be exciting to see kind of how this year develops. Yeah,
I do want to say too, it's so awesome to see women's basketball especially just get to where it is. Especially, it's helped that Caitlin Clark is one of the greatest female basketball players of all time, and she helped with being in a Big Ten school and having so much spotlight on Iowa through that. But even Juju Watkins, there's blanking on her name from UConn right now.
Paige Beckers.
Yes, Paige. She's Paige Buckets.
Yeah, that's what she is. She's just a straight bucket.
There's so many women in this sport that have helped it grow to where it is, and it's just such an awesome thing to see women's basketball actually get recognition and be in the spotlight. Last year, I think, if I remember correctly, the women's national championship game had more viewers than the men's national championship game.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, it's so cool to see women's sports finally shining and getting the spotlight that they deserve.
I mean, think about the Big Ten next year. We got UCLA, USC, who are both probably going to be top 4 teams in the country next year. Ohio State was really good. Michigan was really good. And us, we're pretty good. I'm blanking on a few other teams, but the Big Ten is, it's up there with the SEC. I feel like with, so much talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's gonna be, it's gonna be tough for us to, get over that UCLA, USC, hurdle, but. To be the best, you got to beat the best. So
yeah,
and we almost beat both teams.
We got close
on the West Coast. So it's definitely not.
It's not impossible.
It's definitely not.
Yeah, because to Maddie's point, women's basketball has become such a great sport and it's risen in popularity. But I think it's thanks to some pioneers such as Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, or Beckers, whatever. Those just to name a few, like, examples of those people. So, like, Michigan State can easily put themselves on the map if they can get, like, a premier win or, like, take down a team with one of the premier players in the sport on their roster. I mean, all it takes is one win, like you said, Luke. It sometimes, like, that one upset win to put your program on the map, especially if it's come tournament time, like, that's legit stuff. That'll tell recruits, okay, we're serious. And especially when you have a good culture, like the one that Robin Freilich has built, I mean, that stuff kind of follows. So, like any other sport in college, it's kind of about your culture and your program. Recruiting and money obviously helps, but sometimes all it takes is a one or a few program-defining wins.
Yeah, and the one thing to mention is that, you know, talented recruits are, you know, they're looking at MSU. There was a top 5, I believe she was 4th in the country. She plays for Montverde. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name, but you know, she had MSU in her top 4 listed teams. Unfortunately for us, she chose South Carolina. But you know, the fact that such a prospect or such a talent is looking, you know, at our school and like in our program, I think that's just shows the culture that Freilich has brought in, and a lot of the players here are buying into that culture.
I do want to add something else because I know that we're probably like getting close to moving on from women's basketball. But did you guys see that after Juju Watkins got hurt, they had her little Funko Pop on they had it courtside, like just sitting there. I was like, oh, look at its tiny little Juju Watkins. It was so cute that they obviously they love her.
Yeah, that's a
that
huge
they
team
were
culture
just
moment.
like supporting her obviously through her injury, but they just had a little tiny Funko Pop there. It was so cute. I loved it.
I had a couple Funko Pops for the MSU team. I think we need to see if we can reach out to
put the NIL store on that.
Yeah.
It's like it's as funny as it is. Like that's truly a wholesome moment, and it obviously went viral on social media. So like you kind of see that thing, and I mean it sucks to lose a player like Juju Watkins, and for the sport's sake overall. But I mean that was so cute. I was had me like cheesing and smiling at my phone. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Like Michigan State. You're right. Michigan State NIL Funko Pops. Imagine 21 Savage with a Funko Pop. I'm just saying.
An MSU hockey jersey.
I always got to come back to Michigan State hockey, but imagine 21 Savage as a Funko Pop.
I would buy 10 of them. I would be so
a Cohen Carr.
A Cohen Carr Funko Pop.
Yes. A Sparty Funko Pop.
Yes. Ooh, Sparty Funko Pop. That would be fun.
That would be really cool.
I like that. I feel like there probably is one out there.
I haven't seen it, but you know what? We got Google in front of us.
I'll let you guys get to it. Well, we got to segue to the next segment, but I mean, we should be hired as like the marketing officers for Michigan State NIL or something.
Marketing department, please hire us.
There's a Sparty Funko Pop.
Oh, no way.
Really?
On eBay.
How much is it? $900?
The cheapest one is $20.
That's actually not that bad
really
for Funko
awesome.
Pop.
Oh, man. Do not tempt me with a good time.
The fact that this is where we have come to in this podcast, we instead of talking about sports, we were talking about Funko Pops.
This is sports adjacent. Okay.
Yeah, this is based off sports.
Yeah,
but I can get behind a Sparty Funko Pop plug. That's awesome, but oh my gosh, credit to you for bringing that up to even get there. I do.
You're welcome.
Do appreciate that because I became aware of something I had no idea existed. That's awesome. But
that's funny.
Am I just gonna be a Funko Pop collector now? And just
might have to.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Jeez, oh Pete's.
But yes.
Okay, I'm gonna get off of this.
I was gonna say, well, Jacob is looking on eBay. We're gonna hop over.
Segue a little bit into our last and final segment for the episode, but
let me get rid of these tabs.
I have 14 tabs open about Michigan State Funko Pops.
Oh my goodness.
That's hilarious.
Our final segment for today is talking about MSU gymnastics because holy cow.
They're still dancing.
This team is unreal.
Yes, they are.
They punched their ticket to the 2025 NCAA Championships in Fort Worth, Texas, after having a stellar performance at regionals at University Park. It's their first nationals appearance since 1988. So, like,
it's been 37 years.
It's been a pretty long time coming.
Yeah.
They're competing Thursday, April 17th against teams like LSU, which is a gymnastics powerhouse, Utah, and UCLA that begins with the vault. But the number 8 ranked Spartans are dancing, and they're in the Elite 8. This is like the nationals national championships are like the final 8 teams. So this is legit stuff.
It's just crazy to me that they now have to compete against LSU, who has Livy Dunn, and UCLA, who has Jordan Childs. This is insane. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
We'll talk about putting us on the map, and like kind of that's how we were
Absolutely.
talking last segment. I mean, this is a chance to really get your program there. Like this
Yeah.
is what I was just saying. Like sometimes you need that one program defining win.
Yeah.
This is the chance for MSU.
Exactly,
gymnastics.
especially after they only lost to UCLA in the regular season by like a slim margin. So to put us back in the same region as UCLA, who also took the Big Ten title from us after trying to go for a three-peat, I mean, there's a lot on the line in this. There's a lot on the line in this meet.
Yeah. To mention real quick, they also get LSU again, who they just competed with
Like,
at the regionals,
no
and they lost by
thanks, I'm good.
0.5.
Ah, that's wild.
So they get another shot at them too.
No, thank you. Goodbye. I'm good. Go somewhere else, please.
A lot of revenge tours. kinda
Love you,
coming up.
Livy Dunn. Go. Get away.
Yeah, but
Isn't she a graduate senior? I believe. Is she a fifth
Yes,
year?
I think she's a
Okay.
fifth year.
She's kind of like the Hunter Dickinson of women's gymnastics.
But she's only in her fifth year. That's people are too much about that sometimes because Livy, like, I mean, you could say the same thing about guys who have taken their fifth year to come back
Yeah.
and play basketball, football, hockey, all that stuff. I mean,
You're too good for college. Just leave.
you're just taking an
I was
extra
actually
year.
so surprised to hear that she was still in college because I was going to
Yeah.
mention the fact that she's there before, like until you did, but I was like, I mean,
No,
all the
I
stuff she
think
does,
it's
like with
just her
photo
fifth year.
shoots and Paul Skeens and everything, I'm like, I forgot she was in college. But
Yeah,
she is
Yeah.
there, and she is.
she is
pretty
there
darn
and
good.
she's insane.
But should definitely be a test, I think,
Yeah.
for MSU. Definitely going to be interesting to see. This, like we said, unfamiliar territory, first time since 1988. So this is really going to be a test for this program. None of these girls have been here before, so should be really interesting. But they're going in with momentum because their regionals performance was like absolutely
Outstanding.
unbelievable. And I'm going to get into it a little bit, but like talk about record breaking. Like they had so many program records at regionals, which really kind of propelled them to finishing with enough like points or whatever to qualify for the NCAA championships. But I mean,
Right.
I feel like all year it's been Gabby Stephen and Nikki Smith. Like these are the two. Like obviously the team is also all
Yeah,
really
Skylar
good. but-
Schulte's had a really good season too.
Yes. Yeah. But Gabby Stephen specifically, as well
Yeah.
as Nikki Smith, have kind of carried the weight a little bit in terms of just setting records every week and like taking home hardware. So
Gabby Smith had a sorry to cut you
No, go
off.
ahead.
Gabby Smith, I believe she had a perfect score on the vault. I believe.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
that was just I think she's had 2 perfect scores this season.
Yeah.
That being one of them, and it came in clutch. So
yeah, I mean, talk about a clutch performance, like you said. She was also just named the 2025 WCGA Gymnast of the Year, and she recorded a 39.750 all-around score at regionals. So like,
well deserved.
she is kind of just on another level right now.
Yeah.
Kind of pair that with Nikki Smith too. She placed first in all around at the regional final. And she placed first in bars with the 9.975 score and tied for first with teammate Sage Kellerman in the vault at 9.950. So, like, this team was just all over the scoreboard. I think really, really cool to see. But, like I said, they have momentum kind of going in this next NCAA championship. So,
Yeah, they definitely do. Especially coming off of it's so tough now. We talk about adding UCLA and USC. I mean, that just makes this conference, that makes the Big Ten that much harder. Especially when you're adding a team like UCLA in gymnastics to the Big Ten because of Jordan Childs. I mean, she's an Olympian. She's a gold medalist.
yeah.
Like,
And college that you're competing with.
go away.
Yeah,
I love you, Queen. Like, Jordan Childs is like one of the greatest gymnast athletes. Like, she's amazing, but like, can you please just let us win?
I
Just
think-
this once. Just this once.
I think that's what got really overshadowed when the Big Ten expanded.
is not
for
realizing
conferences.
what gymnasts we were bringing into
Exactly,
this conference.
and not even in just like gymnastics either. Like we were just talking about women's basketball. UCLA and USC are like women's basketball powerhouses,
Right.
And this affects like I said, like it kind of got overshadowed. This expansion affects all sports, not just football and basketball. So other sports are kind of not suffering in a way, but just getting a taste at better competition and more improved competition with the West Coast teams. joining the Big Ten, but I think it'll be good because you get your chance to prove that you can compete with an Olympian. And like, for example, like this girl's in college.
Which they didn't beat us by that much.
Exactly. Like it's right there.
We had the lead against them the whole match. It was just unfortunate that I believe on the floor,
Childs scored a 10.
Had a 10. But also shout out to Coach Mike Rowe. I believe he just
he also won.
He just won Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
So I mean, coaching's really good. Players are doing really good.
Yeah.
You know.
I was going to say, I think that the problem with UCLA, too, is that's where, I mean, the floor is usually the last routine, and that's where UCLA shines, is on the floor. So then they just build back the points that they were behind by, send Jordan Childs out on the floor, get him an easy 10, and all of a sudden they're taking home the trophy.
Yeah, just such a tough beat.
I mean, UCLA is coming to Breslin, or not to Breslin, to Jenison next year. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Like, especially for people who obviously love gymnastics and can't make it out to the West Coast to watch these star gymnasts. You're bringing them to the Midwest. Come on in. Go to Jenison.
We had the match of MSU versus Michigan at the Breslin.
Yeah.
You know, that might be an event where you might have to put it in Spartan Stadium.
Yeah, I agree.
You honestly, like, I would not be shocked if they tried to move another event like MSU and UCLA to Breslin again, just because there's going to be so many people who want to be there to watch Jordan Childs.
Because she's going to be there, correct, next year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's only a sophomore. She's
Which
either a
is
sophomore or a
absolutely
junior.
That makes everything she's doing more
I thought
impressive.
she was a junior, but
I don't know. I know that she comes
got
back
another
for one
year
more
at
year.
least, yeah.
At
I hope-
least.
to be honest, selfishly, I hope she's a junior because then it's only one more season with her against us. But you know, at the end of the day, she's arguably the best gymnast in the Big Ten. So
She is the best gymnast in the
Yeah.
Big Ten. There's no argument there.
maybe in the entire country. So
Unreal stuff that she's doing.
But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what Michigan State can do. Obviously, first time in 37 years they've been here. First time under Mike Rowe that they've done this, who has just done an amazing job with this program. So yeah, hopefully they got to get past LSU and UCLA and see what we can do.
Yeah, it should definitely be interesting, but it's possible. Because like we said, they've been within reach this entire time. But like I said, I really want to touch on like the momentum and the records they've kind of been breaking, because I think that's really going to help like them perform to their capability in this NCAA national championship. I mean, we mentioned that Nikki Smith finishing first and all around at regionals. I mean, that was 5th best in program history. Michaela Tucker and Olivia Zamarni finished tied for 3rd vault, helping MSU break its record in the event with a 49.650 score. And lastly, the Spartans had a 49.575 score on the bar, the 2nd best in program history, where Gabby Stephen tied for 2nd with 9.950, and she placed 7th in the all-around there. So, I mean, like, talk about that. I just read off 3 records that MSU kind of just
In one meet.
In one meet.
meet.
A high-pressure, high-stakes meet.
Yeah.
Because this was to qualify for the national championship. So I think this is going to be the biggest thing for MSU gymnastics, is like kind of ride that momentum. I mean, you've proven that you can do it before. You've also proven all season that you belong here. They've been a top 10 program in the entire country for the entire season. So you've proven that you belong already. You've proven that you can do it on a stage where there's so much on the line and everything matters.
Right.
This is kind of just like, can you give me one more shot? Can you give me one more chance to do it? Can I do it again? And I think, like we said, I mean, I know where they're facing inferior opponents and some tough solo gymnasts as well. But I mean, they've hung with them all year, and they've hung with the best all year. They have plenty of wins over ranked teams. I think there's definitely some potential and definitely a shot to at least make a run, or definitely go out and set some records, or at least put up some good scores individually and come home feeling happy and proud about yourself.
Yeah, and then you got to think, like, all of these, like, the losses that we have had this season have just been so narrow. Like, obviously we're the number 8 seed going up against the number 1 seed in the tournament because of LSU, and we're number 8, so we're in the Elite 8, and this is the matchup that we have to face. But like,
we've hung in there against the best in the Big Ten.
It's possible.
I think we can hang in there with LSU. I know they have the biggest name in gymnastics, arguably, in Livy Dunn, but you know, I think that we almost beat Jordan Childs, who's an Olympic gymnast. So I think that we can we can keep it close with LSU and possibly come out on top.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that we're going to be.
I think that would be a pretty big upset, because
That would be a massive upset.
LSU's been a powerhouse for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
So I think, and the fact that Michigan State, 3 years ago was not in this position at all, and now we're in this position. I think it's just gonna give us so much momentum, like you said, to just try to beat the top dog.
Yeah, and to make a point, like I feel like even though Michigan State's been great all year, like they're probably coming in as one of the underdogs in a sense. Like we've read off the teams, LSU, UCLA, and even like Utah, stuff like that. Like these teams are good and probably a little bit more well shaped like overall than MSU's roster is.
Right.
But if anything, that's fuel. Like you're going and facing some of the top teams in the country, and that like you may not be picked to kind of come home with this entire thing. So use that adversity, use that chip on your shoulder, and really put out a good performance, which I think, like we've been saying, they have the capability to do. It's just a matter like of if they can put it to the floor a little bit and perform. But I mean, use it as a chip on your shoulder, I feel like.
Think about what this does for the future. You know what I mean? Like kind of like what we were saying about the women's basketball team. Like this is going to show recruits that like, hey, we can compete with these top schools. I don't think that top end recruits, they were kind of looking at us a few years ago, but now we're a top 8 team in the country. They're going to be like, hey, Michigan State, they got a good culture here. We can go there and we can compete for a national championship.
Yeah.
So
all it takes is one. That's what I've been preaching this entire episode. You just need that one win, that one performance, that one individual that kind of puts you over the hump. But it should definitely be an entertaining championship to watch. Please go watch it if you have the time, because this is really, really kind of groundbreaking for MSU gymnastics, but should definitely be a very good competition. But that's pretty much going to do it here for this episode of Sports Roundtable. It has been a pleasure talking alongside you guys once again, especially about some positive topics this time.
Yes.
Glad we didn't crash out this episode. But yeah, it's been a good time, good pleasure, and hope that MSU gymnastics can bring it home. Please bring it home.
Let's go.
Please.